And so when we're thinking about comparing actual to budget, we're going to think in a quarterly time frame, number one. Then we're going to compare within that quarter at least monthly.
And a special thank you to our sponsor for this episode, Oswego Private Wealth Management. Welcome to another $4 million Strategies, the best for medicine business. For strategies and tactics you could apply to your business today. Excited to have with us Glenn Gow. He is the CEO Success Coach. Our topic, comparing actual to budget. Glenn, what are some best practices that business owners and CEOs should be applying?
Thank you, Carl, for having me here. I'm going to talk from the perspective of the CEO. What I am a believer in is while we do an annual plan and an annual budget, we adjust quarterly. And so when we're thinking about comparing actual to budget, we're going to think in a quarterly time frame, number one. Then we're going to compare within that quarter at least monthly. How are we doing against our budget? And why are we going to do this? Because let's do a little bit of math here. The quarter is 13 weeks long. Typically, you don't get closed books until about week 6. So you're almost halfway through the quarter. And then you get the next set of closed books after the second month at 10 weeks in the quarter, which means the quarter's almost over. So we need at least 2 measures during the quarter to understand how are we doing against the budget. We don't have a lot of time for adjustments if we're off budget, which we're likely to be one way or another. So it's critical that at a minimum we do it monthly. Now, in addition, there are many metrics that can be reported on more frequently and should be reported on more frequently. So revenue and pipeline, for example, should be done a minimum of weekly and can even be updated daily. It's not that hard to implement. You'll also discover other key metrics like maybe the profitability of a project that can be reported on more often than monthly. The idea is you want insight into what is truly happening so you can be flexible and make changes on the fly. So that's how I think about comparing actual to budget, Carl. But let me pause there.
I think, once again, really good insights. I love the concept of, once again, the importance, right, of not just annual, but quarterly, and then being willing to adjust, right, based on actual data or what's taking place. And one of the things you mentioned, which is too, that a lot of small companies and even larger companies surprisingly don't do well, is the importance of getting some actuals way faster, right? For example, sales are typically known. For most businesses, you shouldn't have to wait until 2 weeks after the year end to find out what your sales are, right? So those type of numbers should be exactly tracked much more frequently, much more quarterly. And then when it comes to closing, why not do more accruals? I find it far more value to be relevant than 100% accurate at the end of it, especially the interim months, to make sure that we're tracking more properly. So Glenn, just one more thing of just what is a biggest challenge you see when owners are trying to track their budgets that they should try to avoid?
Well, the biggest thing I see is something, Carl, you and I talked about earlier, is they wait until it's too late to understand that they're off. They don't make adjustments quickly. They hope that revenue is going to come in, but they're spending all the money to make that revenue come in and it doesn't come in. Or somebody starts a project and spends a lot of money up front on that project and the project starts to go sideways and they don't cut it off. So the concept of guardrails is really critical here for CEOs, is to understand exactly what kind of guardrails am I going to provide to my team in the budgeting arena so we don't spend money poorly and we get the return we're looking for.
Glenn, thank you so much for your insights on $4 million strategies.
Thank you.
There also is listening. Thank you so much. Encourage you to subscribe, like, and share with someone else. That means the world to us. Thank you so much and have a great day.